10 fastest aircraft in the world. Number 10. F-15 Eagle. This is an American heavy air superiority fighter, produced since 1972, designed for operations in all weather conditions. Its maximum speed is 2,656 km per hour. The F-15 Eagle was developed as a specialized air superiority aircraft, a no-compromise machine, built to clear the skies of Soviet MiGs and Sukhoi. Its design was heavily influenced by the pressure from new Soviet aircraft, especially the MiG-25. Although the analysis of a MiG-25 defected to Japan revealed that fears were largely exaggerated, the F-15 was still built to be uncompromising, combining high speed, great maneuverability, large payload, altitude, and combat radius. In 1980, a more versatile version was introduced, the F-15E Strike Eagle, adapted for strike missions regardless of time or weather. With an impressive payload of nearly 10 tons of armament, it retained its excellent air-to-air capabilities. Number 9. F-111 Aardvark. This is an American long-range aircraft with variable sweep wings, used as a strategic bomber, reconnaissance aircraft, and attack aircraft, as well as for electronic warfare. Its maximum speed is 2,660 km per hour. The F-111 was largely developed thanks to NASA and was originally intended to be a classic fighter jet. However, after failing to meet Pentagon requirements, it was reassigned as a bomber and attack aircraft, in which role it performed excellently. It featured several innovative technologies, including afterburning engines and a terrain-following radar, allowing supersonic low-altitude flights, day or night, and in all weather conditions. It could carry both conventional and nuclear weapons. A total of 563 units were built and retired from service in 1996. Interestingly, the F-111 was the only U.S. Air Force aircraft to serve without an official nickname, receiving the name Aardvark due to its long nose only on its retirement day. Number 8. Su-37 Flanker E. This is a Russian multi-role fighter and a development of the Su-27M, classified as a 4+ generation jet. It is a single-seat, twin-engine aircraft designed by the Sukhoi Design Bureau with a maximum speed of 2,870 km per hour. Its maiden flight took place in April 1996. During test flights and air shows, the Su-37 demonstrated super maneuverability, performing advanced maneuvers like the 360-degree somersault. It crashed in December 2002 due to a structural failure and was never put into mass production. Number 7. MiG-31 Foxhound. This is a Soviet two-seat, supersonic heavy interceptor fighter with a top speed of 3,000 km per hour. It was designed to combine the range of the Tu-128 with the speed of the MiG-25. Entering production in the mid-1970s, the MiG-31 was built to counter fast American bombers like the B-1, equipped with long-range cruise missiles. Despite being nearly 50 years old, the MiG-31 remains in active service and is a pillar of Russian air defense. Continuously modernized, it now carries new weapons like the R-37 hypersonic missile, capable of targeting threats up to 400 kilometers away at speeds over 7,000 kilometers per hour. The MiG-31K variant can carry the Kinzhal missile, potentially reaching speeds up to Mach 10 and striking targets 2,000 kilometers away. Number 6. XB-70 Valkyrie. This is an American experimental supersonic bomber from the early 1960s, developed by North American Aviation in a canard configuration with innovative vertically folding wingtips. The program, initiated in the 1950s by the U.S. Strategic Air Command, aimed to create a high-altitude bomber capable of Mach 3 flight. The first prototype flew on September 21, 1964. Its speed and altitude were intended to evade Soviet air defenses and penetrate Soviet airspace during a potential nuclear conflict. However, the emergence of effective Soviet missile systems cast doubt on its feasibility. These concerns intensified after a U-2 spy plane was shot down near Sverdlovsk in 1960. While 50 aircraft were planned, only 2 prototypes were built. Number 5. X-2 Starbuster. It is an experimental American aircraft built to study flight characteristics at speeds between Mach 2 and Mach 3, as well as the effects of thermal barriers on the airframe. The first successful powered flight was carried out using the second X-2 aircraft on November 18, 1955. At the end of July 1956, the same aircraft set a speed record of 3,050 km per hour, 2.87. Ultimately, the highest recorded speed was 3,370 km per hour, or Mach 3.2, at an altitude of 19,960 meters. However, this flight did not end well. Shortly after reaching the record-breaking speed, the pilot made a turn, a maneuver not recommended at around Mach 3. This likely occurred due to a malfunction in the onboard instruments or pilot error. Ultimately, the pilot lost control of the aircraft and, unable to regain it, crashed. Number 4. MiG-25 Foxbat. It is a Soviet supersonic aircraft with a maximum speed of 3,470 km per hour, corresponding to Mach 3.25. It was produced mainly in 2 variants, a high-altitude reconnaissance bomber and a heavy interceptor fighter. Serial production began in early 1969 and ended in 1984. The aircraft is a single-seat, twin-engine high-wing monoplane with a conventional design. It is powered by 2 R-15 engines, each producing about 75 kilonewtons of thrust without afterburner and 110 kilonewtons with afterburner. Developed by the Soviets, the MiG-25 was a response to the American XB-70 Valkyrie bomber project. It turned out to be the fastest fighter aircraft in the world at the time, with only the reconnaissance SR-71 Blackbird being able to rival it in terms of performance, surpassing it in both speed and service ceiling. The West certainly remembers September 6, 1976, when it received an unexpected gift. On that day, Soviet pilot Viktor Belenko defected to Japan with a MiG-25P, giving the Americans a rare opportunity to examine its design. Number 3. Lockheed YF-12. It is an American prototype interceptor fighter from the 1960s, with a maximum speed of 3,660 km per hour. The aircraft was intended to intercept Soviet supersonic bombers at long range as they approached the United States. The origin of the aircraft is tied to the development of the supersonic bomber, North American XB-70 Valkyrie, commissioned by the U.S. Strategic Air Command. Alongside the bomber program, a project was launched to develop a fighter aircraft capable of escorting the XB-70 Valkyrie through hostile airspace. The fighter was expected to reach speeds of around Mach 3.0 and have sufficient range. After 3 prototype units were built and a series of flight tests conducted, the entire program was ultimately cancelled. Number 2. Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird. It is an American long-range strategic reconnaissance aircraft, the fastest aircraft ever to enter operational service with an Air Force. Its maximum speed is 4,000 km per hour. Designed in the late 1950s and early 1960s, at the request of the CIA, it was operated by the CIA, NASA, and the USAF, The aircraft is a twin-engine delta-winged jet with a mid-wing configuration capable of reaching speeds of Mach 3.5 and an altitude of 26,000 meters, making it unreachable by air defense systems of its time. The SR-71 was an unarmed two-seat aircraft. The second cockpit behind the pilot housed the RSO, Reconnaissance Systems Officer, who operated the electronic reconnaissance equipment. Its range allowed for deep penetration into enemy territory without the need to cross borders or violate enemy airspace. A total of 32 SR-71 units were built. Due to the extremely high operating costs and the extensive infrastructure required to support the aircraft, it was retired from service by the late 1980s. Its role has since been taken over by reconnaissance satellites. 3 units were transferred to NASA. The last flight of an SR-71 took place on October 9, 1999. Number 1. North American X-15. It is an American rocket-powered experimental aircraft built by North American Aviation, which set numerous speed and altitude records and was also capable of suborbital flights. In its fastest flight, the aircraft reached a speed of 7,274 km per hour, 2,021 meters per second. The altitude records set by the X-15 remained unbeaten by any manned aircraft, except the Space Shuttle, until the private suborbital aircraft, Spaceship One, flew in 2004. 13 X-15 flights exceeded an altitude of 80 kilometers, and 2 of them crossed the 100-kilometer boundary. The aircraft was used by the U.S. Air Force and NASA. A total of 3 X-15 aircraft were built, and they completed a total of 199 flights, the last one on October 24, 1968. The first aircraft was sent to the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., and the second is currently located at the U.S. Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. The third aircraft, X-15A3, was destroyed on November 15, 1967, when it entered a spin and broke apart in mid-air after the G-forces exceeded 15 G. If you liked the video, leave thumb up and subscribe to the channel.